I, 28F, found my boyfriend, 30M, asking for his ex back. Okay, so it's kind of a long story. My boyfriend, who also is the father of my 2 babies, and I have been fighting for quite a while now, like over 6 months non-stop, arguing every day. We've been together 3 years total, and when I met him he was kind of still messing with his ex, who is the mother of his other 2 children, but they weren't really together. Long story short, they went separate ways, and him and I eventually got into a relationship. He would always bring her up and say stuff like stuff they used to do, and just randomly all the time bring her up. Then he started bringing her up when we would fight. For example, we went on a vaca with the kids and I didn't have everything completely planned out, and he said she would have had everything planned. Which I would tell him all the time, stop bringing her up. Anyways, so we've been fighting. Arguing pretty bad for a while now. We don't see eye to eye on anything, and a couple of weeks ago I made a post on Facebook. It must be nice to have someone who loves and appreciates you, and he responded, I did, I was dumb and let her go. So yeah, I was mad, but at the same time I'm like, whatever, he's just saying stuff because he's mad. Then he made a post saying, nothing like coming home to a grown woman scavenger hunt, memory lane, referring to her and something she did. Well, I look in his phone the other night and he sent her the post and said, you don't think it's been long enough, and she replied, it's a no. So I'm just completely upset because clearly he still has feelings and low-key seems like he's obsessed, but he says he did it out of spite, but that's taking it pretty far. I also saw messages where she sent a pic of their son and he said, he's a perfect mix of me and you. Oh, and he still has naked pics of her in XX videos that he refuses to delete. So it's hurtful after 3 years and 2 babies to think he's still obsessed with his ex. Opinions? It's hard to take people who air their grievances over Facebook seriously. Why haven't you left him yet? Do you like torturing yourself with a guy who isn't in love with you? Edit. Please do not waste your precious youth with someone who treats you like dirt. You don't get these years back. She said no for a reason. Based on what I just read, seems you should do the same. Leave him. Period. There's better men out there. Jesus Christ, you both are children, but what irks me the most is that children has 4 other children. Please don't reproduce with him anymore. My 25 female boyfriend, 28 male, says I am selfish. Sorry this is long. So a little background on this. I, 25 female, am on a mini vacation while transitioning to a new job. So I went to the laundromat yesterday to wash some big blankets we couldn't fit in our machines at home, and when I returned I forgot to bring inside the laundry soap, so it was sitting in my car until the morning. My boyfriend, 28 male, works second shift, so he works 3 p.m. 11 p.m. He usually gets up a few hours before he has to get ready for work to run a load of his laundry and let the dog out, and goes back to sleep as his normal routine. So this morning he wakes me up asking where the laundry soap is, and I said, oh dang, I left it in my car, it should be unlocked. So he stands there like, you're not gonna go grab it? And I told him, why can't you grab it? You're up, it's just in the car. Me getting up to grab it is unnecessary. And it turns into a thing where it's my fault I left it in there and I'm being inconsiderate because he has to work and I have nothing to do, and doing all that would wake him up too much. He's like, I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, because he chooses to play video games as late as possible. And I said, well, maybe you should have went to sleep a little earlier. Now he says I'm being a inconsiderate, selfish CNT. Now it's a whole thing, and he left slamming the door on his way out. IDK. I get he's got to work, but he was up and it would have taken him a minute to go grab the laundry soap out of my car and made me get out of bed just to grab that. I even still made him breakfast and a pot of coffee, but didn't want any of it. We've been together 8 years. Any thoughts on this behavior, interaction? Thank you for reading. What the hell? Has he always cast things in terms of how it relates to him? Expected you to do things for him? Expected you to not do things that would inconvenience him? It sounds like he is mentally ill or is struggling with addiction. Best to discuss the situation after you've both had time to calm down and reflect on things. This should be something you can talk out. The name calling is unacceptable and he should know that. This is not the guy for you. I'm a pretty organized person, and have my morning routine. When something mess with my morning routine, it bother me. Maybe for you as was just soap, but for him, it messed with the flow of things for him in the morning. Question. In any moment cross for your mind, how much time he spended looking for the soap in the place it should be, before waking you up to ask? Maybe that, and the way you tell him I left it in the car, go get it, it is because he got angry. Don't get me wrong, it is not right to treat you that way. But sometime a few little things can make us have stupid reaction. If this was once-time thing, you should talk it and move on. If this is a constant attitude from him, one of you should move out. P.S. Sorry about my English. My wife, 28F, cheated on me, 33M, years ago. It may go back further than that. Me, 33M, and my wife, 28, have been married for almost 4 years and together for 8 years. I had made a post a little over a year ago about how she had cheated on me, so I won't go into any of that. So she met this guy on one of her online games a few weeks ago and they became friends. She added him on her Snapchat so they could chat back and forth, which they do all day and night. He knows she's married at least, which is good, and she told me about him, which is also good. However, it still makes me very uncomfortable with her history and all. I have looked at their conversations because I have access to her social accounts. After the cheating thing, she gave me all her passwords to prove that she would never do it again, and it does seem like they are just buddies. The problem is, after I read their chats, I looked up her Snapchat history and saw a lot of not safe for work pictures. None of them were recent, they all went back about 4 years ago. So now I'm wondering if she cheated on me way before the initial affair. When we discussed it a couple years ago, she had assured me nothing like that had ever happened before. I'm aware she could have just used the camera and may have never sent them to anyone, but because of the nature of the photos it sure seemed like she was performing for someone, if you know what I mean. So I know I should ask her about it, but she will probably just lie and I'll have no way of knowing if she's telling the truth. Should I just bury it deep down with everything else? Thanks for taking the time to read this. I realize it's not the most interesting story on here, but I do appreciate it. Why are you still believing her bullshit, dude? Why are you doing this to yourself? She cheated, you stayed, she cheated again. I hate to say it, but you have her permission to cheat on you whenever she wants. Grow a spine, divorce her, never talk to her again. Get a suitcase, grab her shit, put it in, put the suitcase outside. Get a divorce and get someone who gives a fuck about you. She is just going to stay toxic. Why are you with a woman that you believe will probably just lie? How can you possibly work through any tough issue or decision in this type of relationship? She's demonstrated that she's willing to cheat on you. She's demonstrated that she'll lie to you. Are you waiting for her to kick you in the nuts? She's trouble. My 27M husband, 33M, took my phone away. How do I get him to give it back? Hi Reddit. Throwaway account here because my husband is tracking everything I do. My marriage has been far from perfect, but we have been married for 7 years with practically no sex life in the past 2 years. Due to unresolved conflicts and trauma, we have been seeing a therapist for, amongst other stuff, in the past couple months. In January, my husband told me he had a DNS tracker of sorts, out of my depth, and knew for a few months that I had been watching porn. I admitted I had been for the past 2 years, about once a week or every 2 weeks. He said I was cheating on him by watching it. The outcome was that I had to give him my phone, which has been replaced with a dumb phone. The internet was heavily moderated for a few months. Reddit was blocked. Although he saw I never used it for porn. I slept on the couch for a few months. My husband packed my clothes for me to move out. They remained packed and re-folded into boxes after I would do laundry for a few months. He told me I had to go to counseling for my porn addiction. I wasn't allowed to pick my therapist and had to go to the one he used to go to. And I have not been allowed to be home alone. I spend time at his workplace when I have free time between school and work now. I've worried my therapist has a bias towards my husband, as she absolutely adores him, speaks of him like he is her child, has cut me off in our couples session while respecting his time to speak, regularly goes way past scheduled session time limits with him but never with me. I expressed my concerns with my husband and said I would like to find my own therapist after finishing what I'm working on with the current one. However, he told me I have to stay with the current therapist, and he would stop seeing her without seeking an alternative therapist. I strongly believe he could use the support and help. In recent times he has unpacked some of my clothes, leaving the rest for me to unpack. I don't know if I want to at this point. In the middle of the night he woke me up and led me to the bed to start sleeping there again, and has unblocked Reddit from our internet. He refuses to give me my phone back, saying we need to be having sex first before he can consider me having a smartphone again. I won't be getting the phone I purchased back, as it is a symbol of porn in his mind, so I would have to get a new one. My husband says I should be thankful for what I still have with him after his discovery. As an aside, my husband has told me in the past few years that he would choose my friends for me if I wanted any new ones. I'm feeling crushed by all of his control. How do I convince him to give me my phone back? Run. You watching porn isn't the problem. You're married to someone incredibly controlling and abusive who views you as a child or pet. This is insanity, op. No one should stay in a relationship like this. Always astonished how and why people pull along with such shit. You don't have a husband. You have a warden. Good luck. You want your phone back? You should be looking for your own place. Speaking with a lawyer about divorce. And start living your life on your own. By your own rules. Nobody has the right to tell you what you can or can't do. Nobody has the right to choose your friends for you. Nobody has the right to tell you how you're gonna live your life. Your husband is a controlling asshole. This is abuse.